Okay, so where we left off on Friday, is this right here. So I had you go on and try to work this out and come up with this solution here. Now, if you didn't come up with it, that's fine. If you struggled with it. But what we're going to do is go on and work it through now. So when we talk about these combinations of transformations, we're going to do one at a time. So it says let the graph G be a vertical shrink by a factor of 0.25 followed by the translation of 3 units up of the graph f of x equals x. So let's do the vertical shrink first. So when we do a vertical shrink, we're going to multiply the whole function f of x by 0.25. We're going to do that first. Well, what is f of x? F of x is just x. So we replace f of x with x, so we do 0.25 times x. Well, what is 0.25 times x? It's just 0.25x. So our new function is 0.25 after our first vertical shrink by a factor of 0.25. That's all we had to do. Now our next thing is we're going to move it up 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 0.25, let's call it h of x, just a middle function. So we're saying this h of x, our vertical translation. I've just picked h of x out of the blue. It really doesn't matter. It's just giving us something to work with. Because what we're going to do next to get our g of x is we're going to take h of x and move it up 3. So we're going to add 3 to it. So what is h of x? 0.25. So we just have 0.25x plus 3. And that's it. That's all we had to do for this here. We applied one and then the other. And that's it. Okay, yeah, let's look at another one. Let's look at another one here. Let the graph G be a translation 6 units down, followed by a reflection in the x-axis of the graph f of x equals the absolute value of x. Write a rule for G, and we're not going to use the graphing calculator to check our answer. We're just going to write the rule. Now, I'm going to call the middle step, we're going to do h of x. H of x is equal to our translation of 6 units down. So down is going to be on the outside. So we move up or down. If it's up, we would have added 6. But since we're moving down, we're going to subtract 6. So we have f of x minus 6. Well, what is f of x? F of x is just the absolute value of x. So we're going to have the absolute value of x minus 6. Well, that's it. That is just, well, it's not the final answer. Not the final answer. Where's that? It's just the middle step. Because to get the final answer, we need to have a reflection in the x-axis. So to get our final graph g of x, we need a translation in the x-axis. So if we're going to, not translation, we're going to have a reflection in the x-axis. So to reflect in the x-axis, we need to apply a negative to the outside of the entire function. Because if it's across the y-axis, it's inside with x. If it's across the x-axis, it's on the outside. So we apply it to everything. So that's going to be negative. So our absolute value of x minus 6. So we're going to multiply through by that negative. Well, negative times the absolute value will give us negative absolute value of x, and negative times negative 6 is going to give us plus 6. So this right here is to reflect, well, the reflection, but it's a combination of our moving it 6 units down and then reflecting it across the x-axis. So this right here is our final answer. Negative absolute value of x plus 6. And that's it. That's all we have to do to find this one here. And that's it. That's all we have to do for these here. Now, it's just using these combinations of different ones. So again, I didn't realize that this was going to be so short, but it is. So congratulations, it is short. So you have the rest of the half hour to work on the assignment. Work on the assignment and get this done. So it's in your Google, well, it's not in Google Classroom. It's in your big ideas under chapter 1.3. It's the 1.3 homework assignment. So y'all can go on and get started on that there. So this one here is short.